Okay, this is literally gonna be the second video today. I don't even know if I'm gonna upload this today or not, but I think I will. And what and first of all, I want to say thank the Most High again, and for waking me up in this truth and just allowing me to have the mindset that I have to share information with brothers and sisters out there. But I always wondered why people always talk about this story, Lilith. Adam's first wife, supposedly. When you go and you look up information about this, you go on like on Wikipedia, you go to Google, whatever. This is what I found right here. The first thing on Wikipedia says this, and let me see if I can open both of these windows at the same time without losing my place in the other one. Okay, so Lilith, this is Wikipedia. It says, this is what it says, is a figure in Jewish mythology. The first thing that you got to realize is that this is mythology. It says myth, meaning mythological creature, like a unicorn, like like an Amazon. You know what I mean? Like the Amazons. Like the Greek myth, but this is Jewish myth. This is Alamech doing his little shit and trying to impose his ideologies on our text, on our history. Because I haven't heard anything about Lilith in like an actual book, and if you have, anybody watching this video, then maybe you can put a link in the comments, or let me know in the comments where I can find this text or where I can read about this information. Because so far I've just heard people talking about, oh yeah, Lilith was Adam's first wife, but when you go on here and you look at Wikipedia, it says Jewish mythology developed earliest in the Babylonian Talmud. That's what these Khazarian Jewish Alamech from Edom, that's what they believe, 3rd to 5th century AD. And I'm gonna mute this thing right quick, so I gotta keep hearing that the whole video. And it says, is a figure Jewish mythology developed earliest in Babylonian Talmud, 3rd to 5th century AD, from 70 AD to 1000 AD, I guess after the death of Christ onward. Lilith appears as Adam's first wife, created at the same time, Rosh Hashanah, from the same clay as Adam. Compare Genesis 1:27. Okay, now when I go over here and I go to the other search, what I looked up, and I just used the Brave browser for this one. It says, book excerpt, Adam's first wife wasn't Eve but Lilith. Here's why they broke up. In Never Marry a Woman with Big Feet, author, scholar McKinney Skipper looks at the oral traditions behind gender stereotypes. In this excerpt from the book's prologue, she discusses how men and women have been represented in various creation myth. There goes that word again, myth, mythology, mythological myth across cultures. It says Adam and Eve banished from the Garden of Eden on stained glass. Okay, that's another book. Okay, I'm gonna go on. By Mike Zepper. Hindustan time. So I'm guessing she's East Indian, maybe Hindu, because of the name right there. But anyway, if we look back at how it all began, we find that worldwide sex and gender issues have been expressed in oral traditions such as myths and origin stories. So they're basically comparing this story of Lilith, to the story of Adam and Eve. This is just my opinion on it from what I'm reading so far, just the first paragraph. Basically, and again, this is just my opinion, she's trying to discredit the Bible. you're like using this mythological story to say the Bible is a myth, and since the Bible is a myth, since Lilith is a myth, then Adam and Eve must be a myth, then the Bible must be a myth, then the gender roles are not is not something we should subscribe to. Basically, how the Lord basically said it in the scriptures. Basically, is what you're getting at in so many words. I mean, this is a woman, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, who McKinney, Skype Ipper. I can't pronounce her name for shit. But anyway, fairy tales, animal fables, love poems, or cradle songs and proverbs. Such oral wisdom transmitted from generation to generation represents a fascinating cultural history. Proverb, the world's smallest literal genre, are the most telling part of serial narrative about humankind. They are our main topic here, but first, brief look into how men and women came into being, as presented in creation myths as the illuminating point of entry. The old wisdom that men and women are molded from the same clay must have inspired the story about Adam's first wife, created by God from the same dust as Adam. Her name was not Eve, but Lilith. Their having been created on an equal footing, the terrible consequences because Lilith wanted to have sex on top. So, again, this is just a more feminist ideology to me. This is more, women are the head. Women are the powerful ones. Women are the dominant ones. Men are stupid. Men are, inferior, basically. You know what I'm saying? This is basically that in a nutshell. And we're going to get into it some more. And she insisted on her right to do so. Like, I don't know about you, but I kind of like when my woman gets on top. I like a woman that knows how to get on. Most women don't know how to ride. Most women don't know how to get on top. Most women just lay on their back, and I'm just keeping it real. The women that I've been with, I'm just speaking from my own personal experience. Don't get butt hurt, you know what I'm saying? But only a handful of women, maybe about 2 or 3, have actually got on top and knew what the hell they were doing. Actually good enough to, do something to make me feel something, you know what I'm saying? But it says, but in other versions, she was the one who abandoned him. It says Adam refused this for Lilith to get on top, you know what I'm saying? To ride that stick, you know what I mean? I'm trying to keep it PG because YouTube. But Adam refused for her to get on top and ride him, and divorced her and sent her away. But in other versions, she was the one who abandoned him. She pronounced, I think she made a typo here, and I think she was really trying to say she denounced the name of God, because she pronounced the name of God, flew up out of paradise into the air, and went off to the Red Sea. God sent angels to capture her and bring her back to Adam, threatening that if she didn't come along, she would lose 100 of her demon children daily. So this is like you're trying to make a woman like some type of demonic, powerful deity or something like that. To me, that's what I'm getting from this. Again, this is just my opinion. But she preferred that even to returning to Adam. Ever since, she has taken her revenge on Eve, her rival, by strangling babies and swallowing the sperm of men who sleep alone at night. You can't make this shit up, man. I mean, this is the story that you Negroes are following. When you talk about Lilith, this is what I, and I, like, again, I go to Google, and the first thing that pops up is Wikipedia. The second thing that pops up is the one that I'm reading right now, the Hindustan Times. You know what I mean? I got that open with a Brave browser, so I'll lose my place. But this is what you niggas is following. You know what I mean? So if you have any real literature that actually can be substantiated with any type of historical text, they say that this came about in 700 to 1000 AD, which is right around the time of the Holy Crusades, which is right around the time that the Khazarian Empire was under siege by Muslims and Christians. So they decided to say, look, we're Jewish, to kind of stay out of the conflict between the Muslims and the Christians, right? If you're familiar with that history. And that's around the same time that this fable was created. But I'm going to read on. This is the oral narrative from the cognitive Cuba people tells of how in the beginning God has a sick stomach. He feels so ill that his whole body aches. Okay, this has nothing to do with the story. This is like a side note or something. It says apparently being on top during sexual intercourse is a viable position of power. I guess. In Tanzania, I recently attended a discussion about who was entitled to have. Okay, now before I go on, I'm going to read that again. It says, apparently being on top during sexual intercourse is a inviolable position of power. Like I said before, a lot of women cannot get on top. Either maybe it hurts them to get on top, or it hurts them to get on top and go fast and go deep, or I don't know why, but like a lot of women do not do that, or they're just not in shape. They don't exercise. I don't know what it is, but I prefer a woman to be on top, actually, and this is, I don't know if this is a old wives' tale, but they say if your woman's on top, you actually have a better chance of having a male child. You actually have a better chance of having a boy versus having a girl. And scientifically speaking, the Y chromosome, which is a male chromosome, is smaller. And if you're smaller, you're lighter, you're faster. You know what I mean? Just like anything, like if you get anything that's heavier, it weighs more, so it's going to be a little slower. Just like a heavy truck going up a hill. What's going to be faster to go up a hill? A big, huge truck, or a small Honda or Toyota or some shit? The Honda or the Toyota is going to be faster uphill. So what I'm getting at is that when a woman's on top, that Y chromosome is going faster upward. That X chromosome is going slower upward because it's bigger. This is scientifically, this is science right here. They have evidence showing that the X chromosomes are bigger. And if you're just using simple good sense, man, anything that's bigger usually has more mass and more weight, meaning that it's slower. So that would make a lot of sense for a woman to get on top and then you to have a boy, or to increase your chances of having a boy. It's not just going to say that you're just going to have a boy just, off the strength of that just alone, but I think that definitely increases your chances, because the one time that my ex got on top, you know what I'm saying, and did her thing, you know what I mean, on top of me, we had a boy, man. That was and that was because she was on top. When I was on top, girl. You know what I mean? But the minute she got on top, man, that was we had our boy, man. Just like that. I'm gonna continue. It says, in Tanzania, I recently attended a discussion about who's entitled to have the couple's children after divorce, the husband or the wife. Most men insisted that it ought to be the husband, and the other half joking arguments that it was the man who was physically on top when the children are being made. The main conclusion of Lilith's story is that equality between men and women is not such a good idea. Okay. Whoever is on top during sex should not have anything to do with who gets the rights to the children, to the child. Both of y'all, it takes both of y'all to create the child, so both parents should have equal custody, I believe, and equal time with the child. You know what I mean? That's just my belief, but that's too much like the right thing. In my little perfect world, that's how I would do it. But In America, it's nothing like that. Women are given like 90%, 95% custody. Men get like visitations and weekends or some shit. Like, this shit is all fucking backwards. You know, and and it says the main conclusion of the Lilith story is that equality between men and women is not such a good idea. Yeah, it's not a good idea because, and I give you the football analogy. It's like if you're on a football field and you got uh, 8 players, right? And each player wants to be the quarterback. No players want to do wide receiver. No players want to be running back. No players want to play the defensive end, defensive line, defensive end. All of them are like, we all want to be quarterback. You and all the rest of the players on the team want to be quarterback. So who's going to play the other positions? How are those positions going to get filled? And better yet, how is a play going to be decided if there's 8 different people all trying to decide the plays? Y'all never going to come to a decision because you got basically 2 kings on one horse. You got 2 quarterbacks on one field. You know what I mean? You got 2 heads of household. It does not fucking work because you're basically gonna bump heads because the woman's like, I'm the head, and the man's like, no, I'm the head. Like, what do you mean men are the head? The woman's like, no, I'm the head. I get money now too. We equality, feminism, yeah. And now you have this problem where you know there can be no no compromise, so to speak. There can be no decisions to be made. There's not going to be any agreement. Excuse me, that's the word I'm looking for. You're not going to agree on it shit because both of y'all are the head. So you cannot have 2 kings on one horse. That horse has to go one direction. You know what I'm saying? One king on the horse is gonna be like, we're going east. The other king is like, no, we're going west, motherfucker. What you mean? And then what y'all gonna do? Cut the horse in half? No, somebody's gonna have to get off that horse. And that horse is just a metaphor for the house maybe or something. And somebody's leaving that house, and that's where the divorce happens. And that's why the divorce rate in America is like 70%, man. Like, women, y'all supposed to play a role. Y'all are the wide receivers. That is your role in the team. You're not the quarterback. If you're trying to be the quarterback, then it's like your relationship is not gonna work. It's not gonna work. The guy might be a cuck for a while. He might, be a mangina for a while and just be a yes man for a while and to appease you for a while. He might do it for a while. Just like women might do some shit for a while to appease the man, but then eventually their true nature, their true colors is gonna come out. Eventually that man is gonna be like, you know what, I'm a man. She can't just be talking to me like that, disrespecting me in front of my friends and wooty wap. Like, eventually it's not gonna be good. Eventually he's gonna get tired of the abuse. He's gonna get tired of, you know what I'm saying, like feeling like he's underneath you, man. No man wants to feel like they are underneath somebody. For real. That's why men make up most of the entrepreneurs, because we want to become our own boss. We don't want to work for other people. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't like to be belittled. You know what I mean? We hate that. You know what I'm saying? And women, they hate to be I'm trying to think of the word. They hate to be embarrassed publicly, like, because women are so into themselves, they're so into their appearance and all that. So it's like with a woman, she hates to be felt like she's a joke or embarrassed, like you're fat or you're ugly or you're this or you're that. Because a woman's beauty is like one of her main valued things. For women, I'm saying. I'm not even saying for men. For women, her beauty, that is the main thing that has her value. So if you take that away, it's like you're crushing her ego. And the female ego, in a lot of cases, is bigger than the male ego. But I'll continue. It says Eve has inspired or the original stories, first the Jewish culture, but also the Arab world, Africa, Europe, some variants. Doubt Eve's originating from Adam's rib because of the incident that preceded her creation. So, again, this is Jewish mythology, Jewish folklore, or folklore, which folklore means a folk tale, basically, which is a myth, you know what I'm saying? And this is what you guys are going off of, you know? Here is a version of that story I heard from the Sudanese refugee in the Congo a number of years ago. God sends Archangel Gabriel from heaven down to earth to take rib from sleeping Adam's body, flying back to heaven. Gabriel meets the devil on his way. Devil says, "Hi, Gabriel, how are you?" Gabriel answers politely, "I'm in hurries on to heaven." The devil has not failed to notice a curious object in Gabriel's hand. Gets closer, flies along with the archangel. "What's that?" he asks curiously. "None of your business," replies Gabriel curtly. The devil insists, but archangel keeps quiet. Then, with a sudden move, the devil snatches the rib from Gabriel, who immediately goes after the devil. The devil escapes from Gabriel's grip and makes off quickly as he can, but Gabriel does not want to return to God empty-handed and resolutely holds onto his enemy for a long time. Then wrestle and fly before the devil succeeds in struggling free. They fly silently, one after the other. It says the devil tries to give Gabriel the slip, but the archangel is determined not to let go. Okay, so this is just a story that somebody just put together. You know, I could easily have just made a story just like this, wrote it, and then said, called it the book of, the book of Seth, or the book of Enoch, or the book of, I'm going to say Enoch, but the book of Seth, or the book of Cain, or the book of Abel, you know what I mean, right before he died, and then talk about, how after Abel died, he was crying out to the Most High to kill Cain because Cain murdered me. You gotta revenge me, Lord, or you know what I mean, and say how he saw all these different thrones of God and all these different marbles and stones and different levels of heaven and hell and this and that, and and just have people in awe and shit. But it's like, man, at the end of the day, somebody's writing these stories and they really don't have a whole lot of substantial evidence or proof to back up their claims. I mean, when you go and you look up the story of Adam and Lilith again, and this is what Google says. I'm just going off what Google says. When you Google it, it says Adam and Lilith, and the Wikipedia page tells you that it is Jewish mythology. Okay, so with that being said, I think brothers should just do a little bit of digging and research on the topic. Again, if you find any type of text or any type of historical document or anything like that you might want to share with me, man, holla at me in the comments. Let me know what's up, you know what I mean, and I'll check it out whenever I get the chance. It's the Quad Malak, and it don't stop. I'm gone. Peace. Yep. The Quad Malak, and it don't stop. It's a true story. Just listen. Oh, you pussies hated on me, so don't even say my name. Pussy! Oh, you pussies hated on me, so don't even say my name. Yeah! Oh, you pussies hated on me, so don't even say my name. Don't even say shit! Oh, you pussies hated on me, so don't even say my name. Those of you that hated on me, don't you even say my name. Yeah! Those of you that hated on me, don't you even
even say my
Don't
name.
even say shit.
Those of you that hated on me, don't you even say my name.
You know who you are.
Those of you that hated on me, don't you even say my name.
You need hate to understand what love is. You need a blade to understand what a snub is. She wanna fade, but I be like, what the fuck,
What
bitch?
the fuck?
'Cause back in the day, I was doing some shit that thugs did.
Yeah.
I had a home invasion.
Invasion.
He had the combination. And when you see three of us together, that's the correlation. They don't want us to come together for no conversation.
Nah.
And they remember how the French lost to the Haitians. There's a method to the madness, so get the message.
the message.
Back in the day, gangs were started to get protected. So you don't get a heart attack if you get arrested.
Nah.
And this is free. Run it back. Don't skip the record.
Run it back.
They fed our kids to alligators. I'm gonna return the favor.
Return the favor.
Only difference, I'm gonna use lines when I set the table. There's no Cain in my story. Just set the neighbor. He had no spirit and no body and no fucking neighbor.
All you pussies hated on me, so don't even say my name.
Pussy.
All you pussies hated on me, so don't even say my name.
Yeah.
All you pussies hated on me, so don't even say my
Don't
name.
even say shit.
All you pussies hated on me, so don't even say my name. Those of you that hated on me, don't you even say my name.